The Lone Ranger, August 25th, 2020. I know this isn't exactly about Paris, but I'm giving a little update to the situation that I'm in, as well as plans moving forward. I'm sat at a little round table with a fairly comfortable chair. This chair is reminiscent of one of those old-fashioned looking seats seen in the films. Brown, worn-out leather, wooden inserts in the armrests, and a mid-height back to it. I would quite like this seat to be in an old antiquated gloomy-looking room tucked up at a roll-top writing bureau, surrounded by books, soft music and a shard of light from a window breaking through the dust. However, it's in Costa Coffee in Heston Services, but it's my first Costa since lockdown began. A Mars the M4 corridor by Heathrow isn't au pair tranquille. It's as nice a Costa as any Costa that allows me to write freely. On top of this, I'm also using a Papermate ink Joy in Pink, an impulse purchase from Aldi. I discovered yesterday that the funds required to embark on my final year of study with the Open University had landed in my bank. Not strictly the funds required, as this is a loan to tide me over until the student finance loan arrives. In 3 parts. And this is where confusion starts to set in. The government want me to save up in order to get a qualification that they're happy to lend me money for. So in short, I have to borrow $4,000 in order for the OU to let me study so that I can get a $4,000 loan from the government to pay back the $4,000 that I'd borrowed before paying the government their $4,000 back. What an absolute joke. Lend me the money, I'll pay it back. I shouldn't have to beg, steal or borrow first. Do you want me to study or not? The funny part of this financial fiasco is that I won't be paying off the majority of it anyway. My paltry income will drop when I hit retirement, which is before the 30-year repayment deadline. It'll be interesting to find out how much of the rough £26,000 that I've borrowed is left outstanding and thereby written off, especially adding on the interest. Still, I'm pleased I've been able to expand my knowledge and increase my skill set, even if I haven't been able to fulfil my dream of teaching or even gain financially for my 8 years of part-time study. Yes, Paris, France, has entered that state whereby the UK won't allow anyone in unless they quarantine for a fortnight. And don't get me started on this again. But what that means is that France may well reciprocate, making it nigh on impossible for any possible visit again this year. That's if they decide to play games. The main difficulty is the speed at which these decisions are made. Pretty much 24 hours were given back in England for these travel bridges to collapse. Would I risk it for a biscuit? Yes, coming back to UK I would. But how could I chance going out and being stuck? My very limited reserves wouldn't permit for my staying in France longer than I had booked for. I'd only be able to work out there if I took my work laptop. There are ways that I could get around this, but it's on the hush-hush of course. Self-isolating on return isn't an issue, as I know I can deal with that here by using one of the many loopholes that are gapingly obvious, as well as some that are waiting to be exploited by politicians to suit their own needs. Don't get me wrong, I'm not planning on going again this year, but who knows how long this could go on for. I need my annual fix of Paris. I don't know, being honest, if it's Paris or France, but for now, I'm settling for Paris and her blessed charms and environs. I found an interesting article about the logo of Au Pair Tranquille on Tinterweb, and it got me wondering even more about the history of this amazing venue. I've no idea where to start as my French is hugely limited. There's always Google Translate, I guess. I just don't want to discover that it's simply been a cafe that was run by a family who bought it for a few francs and blah blah blah. I want to have a history to this place. I want her to represent some memories that have been stood in its location through revolutions and declarations. Something, anything.